my honor and privilege to welcome you to a BW Education Wednesday Wisdom. Business World has been doing this for the last 4 months. Today we have the youngest guest we've ever had in a BW Education Wisdom. We have Neelkantha Bhanu Prakash. I'll call him Bhanu so that we keep it short. Bhanu has become the world's fastest calculator. He has a brain that works at the light of speed. Dare I call him India's own Stephen Hawking. So thank you, Bhanu, for joining this BW Education Wednesday Wisdom. We'll talk about how did you acquire these skills? What is the impact it can have? Why should parents encourage young students to pursue what they want? How can you make a career out of it? And what do you have to say to the education system of India? For our viewers, Bhanu just completed his graduation from St. Stephen's during the lockdown. And this conversation on video will be repurposed and shared on all Business World channels, will go in the BW Education magazine, and will also be on the businessworld.in platform. Bhanu, first of all, congratulations. How does it feel to be the man of the moment? The Vice President of India congratulated you. You've been on news channels throughout the day, and for a positive reason, for a good reason. Normally, news channels sometimes can cover you a lot for a negative reason, but you are being covered for a very positive reason. So, how does it feel?
It's a fantastic feeling. I mean, this is something which I've been working on for the last 15 years at the very least. I mean, I'm 20 years old. That's 3/4 of my life. And having established something on a global level is something which I've been doing for a while. In 2016, I established 4 world records and 50 Limca book records for being the fastest human calculator in the world, and the Olympic medal, which talks about Mind Sports Olympics, and winning a gold for India, which India never won before. I mean, it's been, the competition has been open since the last 23 years. In fact, including the time when Shakuntala Devi was an active mental calculator. And it's a surprise that no Indian nor Asian has ever won this contest. And it's a humble note that this happened in the lockdown time, because I got my time to actually go back to my skill, which I've left for a while, and to ace it and win it by 65 points. I mean, I won it with 167 and the second place was with 102. With such margins, has gotten even BBC say that maths is the Usain Bolt of mathematics. No better day.
Okay, I was decent in maths, but I mean, I'll have to relook at calling myself decent, looking at what you've done. So my father was a professor of chemistry, so I had to be good in chemistry, maths, physics.
Yes.
My mother was a professor of Hindi, so I had to be good at it. So coming back to you, you just completed your graduation from St. Stephen's.
Yes.
Tell us, how does education hinder or help what you want to do? Because in India, you know, you do examination by rote. It's a different pedagogy. It's a different skill that you get rewarded for. So how does one bring out the best in a child to help?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I personally feel that that, let's say, the primary, secondary and the high schools, which are very restrictive in their senses of what they allow, what they do not. I fortunately found my way around things, and let me not tell you how, but I did find my ways around school, around 11th and 12th grade. Also, subsequently, I joined IIIT Hyderabad as someone who took up computer science, and I dropped after a year to move to St. Stephen's. And even there, I mean, after winning world records and having such high standards of what you were doing, there was still a lot of, let's say, hindrance, and say that there are certain norms which you need to satisfy, which is not just about your education, which is not just about how much you know, but about some rather very mundane and old-fashioned compulsory stuff which there is. I mean, I had to maintain a 66.7% attendance policy through my entire college. And when I was in IIIT Hyderabad, I had to lose out on attendance and grades because I took part in the mental calculation World Cup. So, I mean, it's a trade-off which I took, but that's because I knew for a fact that I was going to win stuff and I'm going to get something back eventually. But how many lives does this actually hinder on a daily note and people who just want to take a chance and probably find their passion is, I think, enormous and needs a verification, needs a call for sure.
Okay, I have two children. One is my daughter's in class 11, my son is in class 7. The only thing me and my wife discuss is what career should you take, and they're young, so every day they kind of have a infatuation with a new stream, with a new profession. How does one discover what is one good at? Is there a formula? Is there a playbook? When did you discover you were good at maths and this is what you were going to do and this was the road ahead?
So I personally think that inspiration comes from different experiences. And for example, I met with an accident when I was 5 years old, and I was bedridden and at least restricted to home for a year ahead. So I mean, whatever my schooling was, the entire second class was when I was back home, and the only thing which I could do was, and me being an active child, my parents did everything they could to engage me, and that's how I found that puzzles were something which interested me. Now, would I have done it had I not been there is a question which I don't know an answer of. And that's why I would say that I think the discovery of one true love in what they want to do is random. So I mean, I would say that it depends on how many things do you expose yourself with. And maybe, I don't know, had I been exposed to being someone in the healthcare industry and had a certain backdrop experience on, let's say, understanding how doctors and this works, I would have probably been working as an extensive biologist today. So I'd say that it's a chance occurrence, and the chance occurrence also, and that's what, and that's what makes it beautiful. So I mean, I don't believe in when people say that work towards your goal. Your goal changes across days, across months, across years. And the goal only keeps refining because you keep learning from certain people around you. But the people who are into machine learning, your outcast and your result is based on how many points you fit. So, I mean, it's always good to have a good canvas with a lot of dots, which you can eventually, and I think people will be matured enough to connect and make sense of sometime later in life.
Okay, now tell us, you seem to have made, an opportunity out of adversity. When you were 5, you had an accident, and you used that time to get into puzzles, and that's how you got into maths, and you got into solving puzzles. In COVID, you were able to sharpen your skills, go back to them and win this. Tell us, what is it with you that gets you the best out of you in adversity?
I think one thing which I say is that the most important thing is the restlessness. And I would say that because, I mean, I have achieved things which I thought I would not until the age of 25, 30, at the age of 13. And that's something which I had. I mean, when I was 10 years old, my only goal was win an international championship, Bhanu. I did it when I was 13. So the redefinition of a goal had to happen. And I think the redefinition of the goal happened subsequently. I was like, Bhanu, hold records. So that happened in 2 years. Bhanu started a startup. I opened an ice cream store in Hyderabad, which went on to run for 4 years. And eventually it closed out. I mean, just a trial and a rookie attempt at it. But I mean, I would say that my experiences are collected and collated towards a common point, which sort of define who I am. And I would say that these learning curves have only been possible because I was restless in terms of saying that, okay, this is a tick. Yes, what is next? What is up next? Because the moment I'm actually scared of success. In fact, I would say that this right now is one of the most overwhelming moments of my life because I'm like, okay, goal achieved. Yes, you've proven, but that gives me more responsibility. What next? It gives you one of the biggest responsibility there is. And in fact, let me tell you, Anurag Batraji and the other people who are listening to this, I mean, I've not shared this across, but I've consciously not taken part in the last year and the last before year's Olympiad and the Olympics because I was not sure on what I would do with the win. So right now, I've been figuring out for this 2 years by heading a small education initiative, which is working with the government. And I realized that this is the time when I actually make news and talk about saying math education and a reform in it is required. And now here is my gold. I'm going to show you. This is my wildcard entry. I have my gold. Let me in. I'm going to change the policy for you. I think that was the way in which I reverse engineered on the moment in which I did. And now I think it's a lot of, I would say, expectation from myself that if I don't use the traction which I have right now to change what is wrong and what has been wrong for a long time in how the education system is and how math is taught and how scaring in math is a very prevalent part, then I think I would not have a better opportunity. So I think that is the only reason why I would work my brains out for the couple of months to come, the 3 months to come, to find the next avenues which I can set for the next couple of years.
Okay, Bhanu, you're very evolved and confident and very coherent in what you say. That's a gift to have at 20. How much of it you attribute to your own hard work, your own calibration of what needs to be done, and how much do you, credit to God in the universe and serendipity?
Okay, so again, I'm not a very spiritual person, but I do believe that sometimes the chance occurrences are what lead you there. And I'm thankful that a lot of occurrences which are bizarre have shaped me into what I am today. I mean, let me tell you a small thing. Like just I mentioned how I got into speed calculation. I was a timid, to a certain extent, I went with an accident. I had the trauma of it. I mean, I was bullied in school to a certain capacity because I had a deformed face and a lot of stuff which happened back then. And now when we go ahead and when I went ahead into life, I realized that that's what kept me hungry. And in fact, I remember and recall it very right that there was August Fest. I mean, the August Fest which happened in Hyderabad, which used to happen every year, which brought in startups together, not very functional now, but happened back then. I remember I was a kid who was 14 years old who had his first CV made because I thought that is something which is relevant and important. I was 13 and I sent the CV to the head of the August Fest page saying that I want a free ticket because your ticket costs 4,000 rupees and I don't have that money to spend right now on this. And I got a call back saying that, Bhanu, can you speak at this event? That's how I got into public speaking. I've given TEDx's later, I've addressed global conferences. But the chance of me hitting a Facebook page and them recognizing and calling me to that is as coincidental as anything in life could be. And I think that I would give to, let's say, the Almighty, or let's say these random occurrences, probabilistic distributions, if I want to call that in maths. And that's how I would say that. And hard work, definitely. I mean, the only thing which I take pride in what I do is not my work, not the results, but the hard work which I've put in at times when it was needed the most, and at times when it was not recognized the most as well. Yeah.
Beautiful. I definitely would like to be like you when I grow up. You're much younger than me. Yes. 28 years younger than me. But I'd like to compliment you on your thought processes.
Thank you.
And that's what matters. By the way, that's Bhagavad Gita, Bhalu. You do your best and then leave it to God. More often than not, magic happens when you give it your best, when you work hard. I keep saying, Manu, luck favors the brave. Luck favors the hardworking. If you work harder, you get luckier.
Absolutely. What you said absolutely makes sense. I mean, for me, what I understand, I'm an avid reader of Bhagavad Gita myself, and I personally believe that luck favors the brave is also a true mathematical statement, because the more times you have a chance encounter of let's say you trying your best, the better chance is that luck favors you at some time or the other, which will get you that pivot in life. I would say that even this moment right now, Bollywood making a film on Shakuntala Devi, me winning the Olympics at the same time, me getting that press outreach, all of this is coincidental. Had the competition not been, but
you made yourself present. You made yourself present.
Absolutely.
In the conversation. When I called you, you're responsive, and that's when we are having this conversation. Absolutely. And I'm not in maths, not in age, not in your hair, but in the way what you're professing about doing your best and then leaving it to the universe. And universe always helps. Universe is positive. It is helping you achieve what you want to achieve.
Absolutely.
Now you achieved so much at such an early age. You got publicity. You were a star. What next for Bhanu?
I'd say that the tag which I hold, fastest human calculator in the world, I would want to use that to the maximum enterprising way. And let me tell you why. I mean, I've been heading a startup called Exploring Infinities, which has been working with the K-12 segment in teaching kids why the importance of cognitive ability development is persistent, and why there is a fundamental difference between being able to do calculations quickly and thinking quickly. Abacus, Vedic math is not the solution. It is just an instrument which takes you to the destination. Usain Bolt runs 100 meters. He does not use a car. He runs the 100 meters and gets that gold. And that is what is important, and that's what keeps him fit. And that is something which I think does not only apply to the physical sense, but also to the mental sense, and how arithmetic is the push-up, pull-up, cardio, and the weightlifting for what mental gym is. Promoting this, we've been doing it for a while. I mean, I've been doing it passively to see how much of an organic reach I would get, keeping it away from my name. And we've had quite some good results. We've had a good research of around 10,000 kids and how they respond to arithmetic games and stuff. We have done 60 government schools and impact programs. In Corona lockdown time, we have partnered with Government of Telangana. All of this is done. The stage is set. And now the press media is here. So I have two routes. One is to take the enterprise ahead, get into the funding game, get and make this big with not only just a business workable idea, because that is proven. I mean, there is a certain model which I think I can talk to. I've been watching your shows to a certain capacity. We have seen White Hat success. We have seen successes of what is happening in out there. We've seen White Hat. And we've seen how things pan out, an academy and a lot of other places, which I think the things going on. But I think what I bring here is also the ambassadorial perspective, which I think is what I would stick with, and go to the fund game. That's one, and change the way in which adults, people all around the world do their mental ability training and also do their daily brain workouts. So that's number one. The second more important thing is how I can intervene with the voice I have to sort of change how the government narratives are, what the vision mission statements of the government is, because an Olympic gold calls for a lot of attention. And that's something which I've been doing across press these days, is to talk about the importance of numeracy and putting it up there with literacy as the global nation goal. So that is a two-step process. One is as an enterprise, two is as a government policy. So two things, if they go hand in hand, I think I will be able to serve purpose and what my vision is to eradicate math phobia.
Thank you so much. If I had to ask you my last question, if you were hypothetically the education minister, the HRD minister of India, what is the change in the education policy you would bring?
One, the fundamental definition of what mathematics is. Again, let me be very pinpointed. I have a lot of suggestions when it comes to school structure, infrastructure, and a lot of other things, but let me pinpoint this discussion towards math alone. What I would do is talk about math being an art and not math being a science. And I'll tell you why this is important, is because everyone out there has some point of the life or the other have had their teacher tell them that you've gotten the wrong answer, your method is right, so I'll give you a 0. I'll not give you a 5, because in math, we only score 0 or a full mark. There is no thing in between. But that's something which we don't do to a painting. That's something which we don't do to an essay. That's because we appreciate the intricacies of the subject. And when I think people look at math as an art form, math as a way to express and understand things around you, that's when math will be fun, and that's the way in which you would go. So step one, change the definition of what math education is, and have impact programs which not only talk about math's impact on STEM education in general, but also its impact on how we perceive the world around us. Like Noam Chomsky says, watching the world through the language glass, in a similar fashion, watching the world from the quantitative glass, and how that changes everything.
I want to really see your birth certificate.
I'm 99, October 13th, born on a Wednesday. Yes, that's what I am.
I'm not sure of your age. You talk like a 35 who's so wise, who's so mature. I have no doubt about that. But I'm just saying that you're so coherent in what you say and knowledgeable. We wish you luck, Bhanu, and you're a great role model for a lot of young Indians. You are a great role model for a lot of entrepreneurs. You're a great role model and India's ambassador to the world. So we wish you luck, and I look forward to meeting you soon, face to face, like in the old traditional way, and look forward to doing more interactions with you where you can inspire other people to learn from you.
Absolutely.
So congratulations, Neelkantha Bhanu Prakash. We are so proud of what you achieved for us as an Indian. Thanks to your achievement, we believe that India's future is bright if we have bright minds like you who believe in the power of hard work, who believe in God, and who believe knowledge can make a difference.
Thanks a lot.
Congratulations, Bhanu, again.
Means a lot.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.